Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, a closer look at a Microsoft Teams contact center. I'm Tony from the marketing team here at Enghouse Interactive, and I'll be facilitating today's webinar. In these changing times, it is becoming imperative to extend your customer service reach to provide a seamless customer experience while also unlocking collaboration and productivity benefits. In today's webinar, we'll be providing you with a closer look at a Microsoft Teams contact center, a solution that provides a collaborative approach to your customers. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. We welcome any questions you may have. Please use the GoToWebinar pane on the right side of your screen to submit questions at any time throughout the webinar. Questions will be addressed at the end and will be followed up if we run out of time. Plus, we've included an exit feedback survey that we'd love your responses on, if you would be so kind. And lastly, the webinar is being recorded. You will receive a copy of the slide deck and the recording of this webinar via email, along with other links to various resources. Also, I should add that, as is the normal reality for a lot of us at the moment, we are presenting this webinar from our homes today. So please bear with us if we get interrupted by a screaming toddler or a barking dog. Hopefully we don't experience too many distractions. Now, while many of you are familiar with Enghouse Interactive, I'm just going to take a moment to provide a little background before I introduce our presenter for today. Enghouse Interactive is the largest division of global organization Enghouse Systems. The name Enghouse derives from engineering house, reflecting our core technology focus. We're a publicly listed company headquartered in Toronto, delivering communications and technology-based solutions from offices all around the world. The Enghouse brand is behind a number of well-known international solutions, including Arc, Zcom, and most recently Video, while our cloud contact center solution is delivered by some of the world's largest providers under their own brands. So now onto our presenter for today, Anna Stokes. Anna is the product director in charge of the global Enghouse Interactive Communications Center portfolio, a solution that's developed right here in this region. It is the original Zcom product for those familiar with the name, and it's deployed across ANZ and Asia, Europe, and the Americas and the UK. Anna has been in this role for over 4 years and all up has spent nearly 15 years in the telecommunications industry, managing contact centers, implementing product developments, and creating innovation in contact center and mobile environments. So she has embraced the challenge of bringing this exciting new technology to the global contact center market. Without further ado, now I'd like to hand you over to Anna to start us off.
Thanks, Tony. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I'm assuming most of you are joining from isolation in these unprecedented changing times that we're in. If you told me 12 months ago that in a year we would have a wonderful Teams offering, but I've been homeschooling my kids, I'd have said you were quite mad. But look at us now. I realise Teams and contact centres are hot topics for you at the present. I'm having many conversations with customers, daily conversations with customers, wanting to move to Teams, either from Skype server, or you may have a legacy PBX that may be coming to end of life or up for renewal. Many of you are on Teams now for your collaboration. Microsoft released an article just a few days ago saying that they'd hit 44 million daily active users, 44 million. And they're seeing massive user growth as remote working becomes a normality for most of us amid this COVID-19 outbreak. But maybe some of you are reluctant to move to Teams for voice until you know there is a reliable solution for contact center and for receptionists. And that's what we're here to discuss today. Try and get my slides to work. Here we go. So at Enghouse, we've been partnering with Microsoft for over 12 years. So this is in a co-development capacity that goes back to the OCS, LCS days, through Link, Skype for Business, Skype Online, and now, of course, Teams. We are a Microsoft Gold certified partner and a member of Microsoft's Technology Alliance program. So that's the TAP program you may have heard of. The TAP program gives us early access to APIs, collaborative roadmap workshops with Microsoft, and we get to feed our requirements in so they really understand what it takes to have a fully functioning contact center environment. We often present with Microsoft, You may have seen some of the presentations we've done at some of the conferences like Enterprise Connect, Inspire, Ignite, and we've got over 600 successful contact centers deployed globally on the native integration that we've got with Skype. These integrations are critical to us. It's critical we provide a pathway to Teams for these valued customers of ours. And finally, we have been invited to certify on Teams through Microsoft's certification program. You have to be invited, and only contracted partners of Microsoft's are invited to do the certification program, and we're working through that right now with TechVision. Now, this slide here is one that I've taken directly from Andy Bybee's presentation that he ran at Ignite last year. Andy Bybee is the Principal Global Product Manager for the entire Teams program of work at Microsoft. So all of the API product managers report to Andy Bybee. The slide really demonstrates where they see Teams fitting in. So Teams connects people within the business. It extends the business units, so there's no silos any longer. And it powers the collaborative experience within the business. But they have invited vendors like ourselves here at Enghouse to fill what they term the white spaces, areas of business that they don't want to develop software for, things like contact center and reception. And they've invited vendors like ourselves to provide intelligent integrations in these white spaces. So Teams allows us to extend the collaboration between the contact center and the back office, and then Enghouse increases agent productivity by doing things like allowing the caller to self-service, allowing them to arrive at the right agent through intelligence on queuing and routing, and being able to do things like data dipping into a CRM for more information. The calls are delivered to your Microsoft 365 Teams environment, and agents can continue to use a UI that's designed specifically for them. Supervisors can use a UI designed specifically for them. Using Teams, they can collaborate with the entire business, breaking down those traditional silos that we're talking about before, working as a team and sharing all the IP and the knowledge in the business, providing for first call resolution every time. But we can still support your already implemented business workflows, ultimately, all working towards achieving a delightful customer experience. Finally, Enghouse is able to record all your interactions for compliance and training. Currently, there's no or very limited APIs for call recording out of Microsoft, and they're certainly not at a mature level, enough maturity for us to offer compliance, certainly not at the level that our customers desire. And Enghouse can offer informed and all the data you require, all the reporting and all the analytics, so you can make informed, insightful decisions and feed all of that credible data, all that business intelligence back to the stakeholders in your business, whether that's marketing, your customer experience team, and of course your C-level management team. Traditionally, the customer service and support teams have been separated from the business, but a Teams integrated contact center really breaks down those silos, extending the reach of the customer services organization. No more isolated teams. We get to tap into all of the IP in the business, and we extend the reach of the front line to those knowledge experts sitting in the back office. Let's make everyone in your business collectively responsible for your customer's experience. This is a really high-level architecture document or diagram to show you how we bring calls into the contact center. So calls come in via PSTN and they hit the SPC. Microsoft have certified a range of SPCs to make them compliant, and these are listed on their website, so you can find the list there or through your partner. The calls are delivered to the Enghouse contact center via SIP. And this is the same way that you'll find all of our competitors are doing this today. Certainly the competitors who are offering fully featured contact center environments today. The native APIs that Microsoft are offering us just aren't quite there yet to give the experience that our customers desire. They will get there. We're certainly underway and we're certainly making good traction. But until they've got the maturity that's required, we'll continue to use the SIP architecture. calls are then intelligently dealt with within the contact center, and by that we can add data to them, data dip into the CRM or the knowledge bases that you may have in your business. We can start recording the calls, and supervisors can actively manage their SLAs at this point. And then the calls are delivered to the Teams endpoint via direct routing. I'm going to show you a quick video that I recorded prior to this webinar of a call coming into our contact center using this architecture. So you'll see that the agent's going to open up the queue, and you'll see a call sitting in the queue. We're going to take ourselves off break and we'll receive the call through to this agent. Now you're going to be presented with two toasts, the Teams toast and our Enghouse toast. The reason for this is that there is no client experience APIs currently. So in order to be able to answer this call, you must answer the call using the Teams client. Once it's answered, we've got complete control of that call. But until we have the client experience APIs, things that you would have used to hearing termed the client SDK through the Skype technology, the equivalent of that is the client experience APIs. Until they're made available from Microsoft, we'll have to answer that call using the Teams client. But we at Enghouse are able to add some information to that call, present that to the agent via our toast, so that they've got some more information about that caller, who they are, where they're calling from, etc. So while we're waiting for the APIs to mature, we're going to have a hybrid approach. So you can see that we've got our SIP architecture there, and then we've got a new product called the Teams connector. This is where we're going to build all of our native development into, and we're going to run them in a hybrid approach. We've got a dedicated R&D team here at Enghouse, and they're constantly working with the APIs available in the TAP program. That's the same team that's working with Microsoft R&D team, feeding into their development cycles what's important to us and telling them why we need certain items. You know, why is the client experience APIs important to us? Why is it important that we can control that call and answer that call? So we're having these conversations with Microsoft all the time. Native integration is our goal. So once the APIs are strong enough, you'll no longer require the SIP part of the topology diagram that I showed you here. And instead, we'll be actioning all of our call control via the Teams connector. But Presence is the first of these native features that is already available to you. And I'm going to show you a quick video showing Presence in action. So we have integrated all of our Enghouse contact centers with the Presence APIs available to us from Microsoft as part of the Graph API. And this is showing you what that looks like. So on the right-hand side, we're going to change the Teams present of the user. And on the left-hand side, you'll see that update from green on Aaron to show busy, red. And then if we change him to be right back, he'll update to yellow. And then back to available, you'll see him go back to green. The latency is actually really good on this API, so it's actually very reactive, and we're very happy with how this is working for our customers today. There's a lot that we can do with the APIs today. So although they're not quite strong enough or mature enough to offer a complete native integration for call control, what we can do is add value in other ways. So as a couple of examples here. So you could do a bot consulting with your experts through Agent Assist. So this is where an agent could reach out to a team of back office staff with specific knowledge to answer a customer question. So an example there, through this COVID-19 experience, I may have had a trip to Disney World booked. I ring my travel agent, and the person's taking my call isn't necessarily, have all the knowledge available around specifically to do with Disney World. So they could tap into the back office, specifically the Orlando team, to ask what my options are around getting a credit for Disney World. We can promote knowledge-based articles to an agent. So that's where we're actively listening into the call. Same scenario, I've called my travel agent asking about Disney World. The system can recognize the term Disney World and present the agent with some current knowledge-based articles from their knowledge-based system with regards to Disney World. And, you know, with COVID-19, that's probably going to be a document that's going to walk them through what that customer's options are. Or it could be something simple like promoting the health of the contact center to a supervisor via their Teams client. So the supervisor doesn't necessarily have to be running the specific contact center software. We could be popping up alerts directly into their Teams client every time something has happened in the contact center that they need to be aware of. Let's walk through a specific example here just to give you a little bit more context. So we're going to talk about a healthcare scenario, and I think all of us are pretty familiar with healthcare today and what the service levels are of healthcare today, but these are changing with collaborative technologies like Teams. So in this scenario, let's talk about COVID-19. So we have a patient who was diagnosed with COVID, but they're at home in isolation. They're not sick enough to be in hospital. They're at home in isolation while they're unwell. Now the system can send an automatic message to that, I'll call them a customer, but patient, every day checking in on them. So through automation, that patient receives a text to say, hey, how are you doing today? How are you feeling today? Completely automated, no nurse involved texting the message, but we're just aware that that patient needs to be checked on. So the programmatic tools have reached out and the patient can answer via text, actually, I'm experiencing some pain today. Anything I should do? Now, the system is smart enough to know and to recognize keywords. So if the patient had responded, I'm fine, no change, all good, the system would know that they can shut it down at that point. But the keyword pain has been recognized here, and the system knows that it needs to escalate this through to a live agent, in this case, a nurse. So the nurse responds to the patient and says, hey, can we talk over video? I'd really like to, speak to you where I can see where it hurts. You can show me where it hurts. And simply by clicking a link, they're connected on a video call. Now we've got a bot listening into this conversation and the patient says to the nurse, hey, can I take some ibuprofen for the pain? The bot is able to provide the nurse with some information that actually ibuprofen is not the best medication to take for a COVID-19 patient. So the nurse is proactively presented with that information through things like cognitive services, and they're able to steer that customer in the direct or the correct way based off that information that's being presented to them by the system. At this point, the nurse says, hey, let me see if your team is available. Now, this is the team that has worked with this patient. This is not a generic group of people. This is specifically the doctors, the nurses, even the finance person that is connected directly to this individual. So let me see if I can get your team together to discuss. So through Teams, we can create a dynamic team of people specific to that patient. And in this case, the doctor says, hey, let's relook at your symptoms. Not happy here. Let's run through that again. So through analytics, this interaction could be one of thousands of interactions. I know in New Zealand, we're up to about 300 cases of COVID-19. Through this system, not only can you contact all of those patients on a daily basis without taking up additional resource of people having to manually do that, but we can also gather all of the analytics about this interaction. Might be one of thousands we do, and we can reach some really intelligent conclusions of what's happening, not only through this healthcare clinic, but in general about the COVID-19 outbreak in New Zealand. And we can provide that information back to the business and to other people interested in that. Now, this isn't just a healthcare scenario. This is a scenario that almost any industry can use, whether it's financial services, where we're promoting loan opportunities or the latest rates from an agent to a customer. It could be retail, identifying that customer, knowing what they've purchased in the past and making specific offers to them. But we are combining the functionality of the contact center, things like queuing, routing, all the channels of communication, the messaging, the video, with the collaborative and capabilities of Teams. Oh, one moment. There we go. And we're also joining in the AI. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see what I'm saying, but it's jumping in and out. I apologize. Try that again. And we're also joining in the AI capabilities. So the Microsoft Cognitive Services are playing here as well. Ultimately, all of this stuff coming together equals a whole that's so much better than the sum of its parts. No more one-on-one, but a whole team supporting the customer. But how do we make this work? So we've got support for omnichannel. Now, for those of you who have been around as long as I have, you'll know this is a mainstay of contact center, dating back to probably 1998 now. So nothing new there. But the delivery of calls to a Teams endpoint, that's pretty new. So this only became possible about 5 to 6 months ago when Microsoft announced direct routing. We've also got the cognitive services, so the ability to deliver intelligence for the customer and for the agent through the coaching. And we've got the ability to collect a team of people. Finally, deriving the analytics on that service. All of this is doable today. So in the past, where this was all a pretty sophisticated story, now it's all reality. So another wee video here for you. Oh, actually, this one is showing you what this looks like. So this is our Enghouse UI today. The Teams client is really built specifically for the enterprise user. So the Teams experience program of work hasn't started yet. So that's where I was talking about the equivalent of the client SDKs. So we're going to have a side-by-side UI for the present time. But this UI is specifically designed for an agent. So in this specific example, you can see two people having a video call. This video call was actually escalated off a text-based conversation. So whether it's web chat, whether it's SMS, we've decided to escalate that through to a video call so we can see the patient, see the customer, offer some empathy, or in some other situations, maybe get them to show us something. We present the agent with a common responses library, and this can either be something pretty generic or it could be tailored through AI technologies, listening into the call and proactively promoting knowledge-based articles to the agent. We also provide the agent with all of the related interactions that that particular customer has with the business. So they may have emailed the business, and there might be an email currently sitting in queue. The agent can see that related interaction and respond to the query sitting in that email while they're speaking to the customer. We also give them full context of where they've come from. So if this was originated as a web chat, we can provide the agent with all of the context of where that customer has been on the website, for instance, prior to coming through to them. And there's a lot of information that can be garnered from that by the agent. How long a customer has spent on each web page, for instance, that provides a lot of sort of context of what the customer is looking for. And of course, we now have our presence integration with Teams. So when we're searching to collaborate with somebody else in the business, we can understand their availability. I'm now going to show you another short video that we recorded, and this is going to show you another instance of what we can do. So this is around the agent assist. Oh, one moment. Try that again. So a call is going to come into the contact center and the agent's going to answer this call. Now, let's think specifically around my Orlando example. Hi, I've got a trip booked for Disney World. Can you tell me what my options are? What's available to me? This particular agent doesn't understand the latest of what's happening with Disney World, so they can click on the request assistance button and directly send a request to all of the back office team, the Orlando-based team that may be sitting as part of that travel network company. Everybody in that Orlando team will receive a chat in their Teams client, as you can see here, saying that this particular agent requires assistance. And they can proactively click on that chat and start speaking with the agent, answering that customer's questions, and providing them with what we were calling before that delightful customer experience. We've also got a supervisor client. So, we're talking about specific clients for specific users. Now, this is a client that we've actually built it to be part of the framework of teams. And this is specifically for the type of supervisor who tends to be up out of their seat, walking around the contact center floor. They have a tablet in their hand, they've got their Teams client on their tablet, and they can have this UI sitting as part of that Teams framework. It sends all of the up-to-date information that that supervisor needs about the health of the contact center. So you can see here there's a scenario of an alert happening in the queue. So they can see that come in, they can go head over to the agents that are part of that queue, and they can actively help those agents at the time of the alert to move it back to being a positive SLA. We've also got our embedded analytics. So this is really showing some sophisticated capabilities, allowing all kinds of different views of how contact centers are performing within Teams. You can drill right down within these dashboards. So you can see here that there is a red circle sitting in Italy. If I was to click on that red circle, my dashboard would completely refresh with just the Italian data. So I can manipulate the data, I can drive the data to see all kinds of different views of my contact center. The analytics at Enghouse has really come an incredibly long way in the last 12 months. This is an example of a customer who's been using our Enghouse contact center with Teams, and in their words, has taken our customer service to a whole new level. So Mayo County Council are actually based in Ireland, and they service and the entire county. There's a 9-office network that they service. And they moved to being 100% Teams, so 100% for voice, towards the end of last year. So they needed a contact center solution that would integrate with Teams and manage calls coming through their Teams environment. They also needed help to transform their customer service. They really wanted to refine their internal processes and their associated communications. And they really wanted to provide detailed reporting and call analytics. So they selected Enghouse Contact Center for Microsoft Teams as their contact center of choice. The Teams calls are arriving through PSTN and they're passing through a Sonos Ribbon SPC. That is certainly the most common SPC that we're seeing at the moment. There are a range of other certified ones, as I mentioned before. The CC is integrated via a SIP trunk to the SBCs, and the call is terminating on the Teams client. We also have a presence integration for them, and they've got another product of ours called Snapshot, which is a range of dashboards displaying the health of the contact center inside of their contact center environments. It's important to note, though, that Enghouse builds their contact centers so we are not PBX agnostic. This is really important because when you're a customer wanting to migrate, you want to know that you're future-proofed. So you might not be ready to move to Teams for voice yet. You might be using Teams for collaboration, and you might have a roadmap that's going to take you to Teams for voice. But you'll always feel safe with Enghouse, knowing you won't have to retrain your users, and there will be no downtime on the tools when you're ready to move. If you're coming from one of our supported PBXs like Cisco, NEC, Avaya, there's a huge range. So where do we go from here? On the left-hand side, this is all of the stuff that we can do today. There is a reasonably fully functioned contact center available for you integrated to Teams today, but there is room for movement. And we will be looking to move to a fully native contact center environment as Microsoft allow us to do so. We'll also be looking to do some Teams embedded agent experience when the client experience APIs become available. We'll be looking to package up some of the bot technologies that we've been discussing today, things like agent assistance or dynamic team creation, and these will be done based on customer needs. So when a customer comes to us and says, I want this, then we will build it and package it and make it available. We're also looking forward to having Teams native IM video queuing and media escalation inside of Teams, and of course, seeing some advanced AI-based analytics coming out as well. So ultimately, the message is there is intelligent, collaborative contact center available today through Enghouse integrated to Teams. That's all I've got for you today, guys. So do we have any questions that have come in, Tony?
Thank you very much, Anna. As mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we will be taking questions now. So just a reminder to type in any questions in your GoToWebinar control panel. We have had a couple of questions come in throughout the presentation, so let's start with those. The first question, is this on-premise only?
Absolutely not. So Enghouse have a product to support any topology you desire. So whether that's public cloud, private cloud, or on-premise, we still have a range of customers quite happy with their on-premise installations. We have a product that will suit any topology that you desire in your business.
Great. The next question, when do you think we will have a fully native solution that's the equivalent of what we have with the Microsoft Skype server today?
That is a great question, and it's one I would love to be able to answer. Look, it really depends on the cadence that Microsoft set on their API delivery. So there's a lot we can do today, but it's not quite at the level that our customers expect, certainly if you're comparing it to what you can do natively with Skype. Microsoft has certainly made their first priority their first party requirements. So that's supporting all of their customers who are wanting to move to Teams, all of their enterprise customers looking to move. And that's exactly what they should have done. So they're delivering on all of their first party requirements first, and then they're supporting vendors like ourselves as well. So we're getting a lot of traction with the API development. We've seen a lot come out from Microsoft in terms of their calling API development, in terms of their graph API development. We're also seeing some movement on the local media, remote media, and of course, we're seeing stuff happening all the time with things like cognitive services. They do realize the urgency for them to support vendors like Enghouse, their third-party vendors, working with them to fill these white spaces, because they know that their customers won't be able to move 100% to Teams for voice until they have solutions that will enable them to do so. So solutions to control their contact center environments, solutions to control their reception environments. So they're very aware of the urgency of vendors like ourselves looking for these APIs, but I can't really give you a date today.
Thanks, Anna. The next question is, how will the final model with no SBC work in countries where Microsoft's calling plan is not available?
That's a really good question. I'm going to invite our Director of R&D, Richard Thompson, to come in at this point and give me his expertise.
Afternoon all. In this regards, as per Anna's diagram stall, the SBC stall is going to be required there until we can have the fully native version of the queuing. At this point, the direct routing is the only option that we can see in this area.
Great, thank you. The next question is, with the current direct connect scenario, if an agent receptionist answers a call and transfers to a normal Teams user, I assume the call will be consuming SIP trunk capacity for the most of the call. Is that correct?
Richard, you can take this one too.
Happy to. Yes, that's correct. The SIP trunk will be maintained for the duration of that call. That enables us to keep the control of the call and do a lot of the advanced scenarios that we want to do, offering things like the post-call survey, being able to bring those bots into the call to do that analysis of the text or the conversation as it's going through.
Thank you, Richard. Next question is this available in Australia?
Absolutely. This is available across all of our regions. And as you said at the beginning, Tony, we are a global company, so we're in most regions today.
Thank you, Anna. Next question is, what are the CRMs supported by Teams?
So we have a huge range of CRMs that are supported, and they're supported through the contact center integration. So things like Salesforce, there's a huge range. So depending on the contact center that you want to work with, we'd be able to let you know what the specific integrations are that contact center has. We have a range of contact centers at Enghouse.
Thanks, Anna. There's a couple more questions that have come through. Someone has asked, what are the thoughts of challenges for agents with Microsoft Teams and Skype presence not syncing?
Richard.
It's certainly becoming a less of an issue as customers are moving more to Teams, and particularly with the Teams presence now that's available within Communication Center, then you'll be able to get that native experience of having the presence within the application or directly within Teams. Certainly, I don't think Microsoft have any intention of ever getting synchronization between on-premise Skype for Business and Teams working. And certainly from our experiences anyway, the synchronization between Skype for Business Online and Teams it still works reasonably well. We haven't found too many cases where it doesn't behave correctly.
Thanks, Richard. Another question, is your cloud contact center hosted in Australia?
Yes, we have a cloud contact center hosted in Australia. We have versions of this or iterations of this hosted in a range of places around the world, but we certainly have an instance hosted in Australia today.
Thanks, Anna. There's quite a few questions that have come in about CRMs, but I believe you've already addressed that earlier. If there are no further questions, we may end the webinar there.
My best advice for you is with regards to your specific CRM, speak to your account manager, speak to your partner, and they'll be able to tell you very, very quickly as to whether we have an integration with that CRM and what they would look like.
Thanks, Anna, and thanks, Richard, for contributing some answers today. I think we have no further questions, so we will end the webinar there. So thank you everyone for joining today. If you wouldn't mind answering the feedback survey as you exit. And someone did ask if the recording will be shared. Yes, we will be sharing the recording and a copy of the presentation post this webinar. So to all of you, have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.